What does it mean?
I would consider it as a resignation offer, a resignation matter. I'm not saying I totally would resign at the current time, but it would definitely be a failure on my part. When I put my Billy Do out saying vote for me back in May, one of the things I put on it was Launceston Leisure Centre, and it needs to be done. It is my number one priority for Launceston, but it is now the minor injuries unit has reopened, but it's the two of the things together I believe are absolutely essential for Launceston, and anyone who represents Launceston, because I'm a county councillor and a town councillor, and the town councillor and the trustees are all of one mind. We must keep this leisure centre going, and we have all failed if this leisure centre closes.
So you say that failure would certainly you would certainly consider resigning?
I would most definitely consider resigning because I will have let the people of Launceston down.
How about other members of the Conservative group on the council? I've done some quick arithmetic, and I've identified 9 Conservative councillors who have the under threat leisure centres in their community network areas. Well, that is actually that's more than the Conservative majority on the council.
I haven't discussed it with the other Conservative councillors. I don't know what they think, but it's a matter. To my mind, it's a matter of honour. And if we fail our community, we must look at what we're doing. It's a much wider thing than a political thing. And if at the end of the day, by supporting our leisure centre here, it means that the Conservatives chuck me out, they do so.
We have been told that there has been interest from other parties that said they would take over all the under threat leisure centres. So we're yet to see if any of that materialises. But I think interest is one thing, but solid proposals are something slightly different.
Now, you speak with the authority of experience of having been in the position. 4 or 5 years ago, you went through a very similar exercise. How do you think this time it's going to pan out?
I really don't know. I think there is obviously a cost to running the leisure centres. Previously when I was part of the administration, we did obviously go through the contract with Tempus, and it was their contract was up, so they bid to run the leisure centres the same as GLL, and GLL won the day. But I think it's something that I would hope Cornwall Council will come forward and say we should support them, keep them all together, and pay what I believe is quite a small amount of money to keep them all running.
Managed by GLL or run by Cornwall Council? Maybe get Corserve to set up a new management company that does leisure.
I think short term it would probably need to be GLL just because of the practicalities, but I think looking forward the council could certainly follow other councils around the country and say, well, we'll take them back in hand and run them in-house.
I mean, I've been to most of these leisure meetings around Cornwall, and it was the same here tonight. A lot of anti-GLL sentiment. Indeed, you yourself have said that you don't take your children swimming at Launceston Pool anymore. Isn't GLL part of the problem rather than part of the solution?
I think potentially, and my children do still go to the pool. They were there this morning, so they are still members. I'm not a member myself, just because it just doesn't work for me anymore as far as the limited offering that they have. But no, my children are still members. They were there this morning at the swimming.
So you would keep it with GLL though. You wouldn't be looking for Cornwall Council to run it directly in-house.
I think there's an option. I think there could well be an option that they could be run better. I think it's a bit ironic, better. But no, I think that there is. I think there's ways that GLL could run them in a far better way. I think the whole going cashless. I think the app and the website is a nightmare. Trying to book. For my kids to go last week was really, really difficult, even though they're members. And I think my wife was going with them, and yes, it really is difficult, and that doesn't encourage people if they go on the website, can't get access, can't book, know that they can't pay with cash when they get there. I think that's really difficult.
But a message that was heard again and again tonight was the need for sustainability, and so with GLL really cherry picking the ones that they can make money of and just saying we want to walk away from the ones where we're not making enough money, that's clearly not sustainable for towns like Launceston.
No, and I don't think it's sustainable going forward, because if these are the first 4 to go, there'll be 9 left. What happens then? Is the next 4 get picked off in 2 years' time? So I think that is a real issue. and something that, I believe Cornwall Council is in a position, it certainly has the deepest pockets, far more than any community group, and I think they should be looking at a programme of replacing our leisure centres, working with the NHS and using them as health and wellbeing centres, because, stopping one heart attack in the Launceston area through social prescribing and getting somebody into the gym and more fit through swimming, would save the NHS in excess of the cost of running a leisure centre for 12 months.
I know you say you didn't want to go over old ground, but looking back 4 or 5 years now, do you regret awarding the contract to GLL?
I think it's very easy with hindsight. I think the problem is none of us forecast a pandemic. The pandemic has obviously hit them much, much harder. Would this have happened without the pandemic? I don't know. I think the centres weren't in a great place prior to the pandemic financially. So I think it's easy to say at the time we only had really one show in town as far as the option to take on the leisure centres. So yes, hindsight's great, but yes, I think we are where we are.